Let's build your vocal technique by breaking it. Okay, so this is clearly counterintuitive. Often when we're thinking about building our voice, we kind of think of it as layering brick by brick our vocal technique, and our voice just keeps getting better and stronger. But today, I mean what I say. If you want to sing with more freedom, if you want those high notes, if you want to have a better, easier sounding voice, we're going to break your voice apart. Now, real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who works with students from all over the world over Zoom. And really on this channel, my goal is to make learning how to sing as simple and as easy as possible. So if that is up your lane, consider subscribing so you can see more content like this. And if you want to improve your voice faster, I've also got some links down in the description on how you can work with me privately, along with some self-study programs that you can work through at your own pace. Now, last but not least, if you want to inspire our next episode, let me know down in the comments below, or if you're on podcast, you can also leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. Anyway, let's talk more about breaking your voice. So let's start here. The goal for us as singers is often we want to sing the high notes, we want it to feel easy, and we have to have more control. But how does this actually work? How do we actually build our voice and get it to a place where we can do this? Very simply from experience, this is just about two things. Number one, you engage the right vocal muscles, and number two, you disengage the wrong muscles. And so I've talked a lot about engaging the right muscles, muscles that are involved in stretching the vocal folds, muscles that are involved in pressing the chords together so you can get a clearer, stronger sound. I've talked a lot about these in details in some of our previous episodes. So if you haven't watched them, after this episode, make sure to go back and check out some of those episodes on isolating the stretch and isolating the connection. Now, apart from building and engaging the right muscles, a big part of our work, especially with the work that I do with my students, a big part of it is breaking the technique that they have built. And specifically what I mean by this is breaking some of the dependencies that we've built in our vocal technique over the years of singing and practice. You see, a dependency often is when we're trying to engage the right muscles, say for example, we're trying to stretch the vocal folds and hit some of the high notes, what can happen sometimes is we also fire and engage some of the other muscles that we don't need. Things like, moving our head in a specific way, moving our mouth in a specific way. And I've seen this too, like a lot of people tend to really open their mouth in order to hit their notes. Even things like subtle changes in volume, they are a dependency. And sure, they might be important for certain parts of our range, especially some of the really, really high notes or maybe some of the lower extremes. But for a big part of our range, especially in the middle where people, experience a break or they experience a passaggio, we don't really need these unnecessary movements. Now, they might feel necessary for you at the moment, but that's simply because you've built them as a crutch. You've normalized it over the years that, if I hit a note, I have to engage all this musculature. And so I want to challenge you with a little idea, a little way to train your voice, because you're probably thinking, hey, Ivan, how do I actually overcome this problem? How do I start to just engage the right muscles and disengage the wrong muscles? And the idea that I want to challenge you all today is pick a scale, pick a song even that you usually run through in your practice sessions. And I want you to observe if there are any movements, maybe there's a certain way that your mouth needs to move. Maybe you notice as I sing higher, I tend to have to open my mouth a lot more. Or maybe I have to move my head in a certain way. Or maybe I have to get louder. Those are the usual culprits. I want you to try to sing that again and not change anything. For example, let's just say, here, I am doing an all vowel. And as I go up higher, this thing kind of happens. Oh, my head's kind of moving, kind of jamming to the side. Or maybe I do this. Oh, where the top note kind of ever so slightly opens up and it splats out into an R vowel. If you can notice that, I want you to try and challenge yourself to not do that. And it's going to feel tricky initially because you've built this certain dependency. But if you can go, oh, no head movement, no changing the vowel, no distorting, all of that. If you can just keep it the same, this is going to allow you to start to isolate and train the right muscles while simultaneously getting rid of the muscles that you don't need. And it's going to take a lot of work. It's probably not going to be as fun as you'd like because we're unlearning a lot of the things that we don't need. But it can be really, really fruitful because when you don't use these muscles, all of a sudden you don't have to, constrict your neck to a certain place in order to hit the note. When you start to engage the right muscles, it brings you this new level of freedom to your singing. And this is kind of the goal that we want, right? We want to use the right muscles and disengage the wrong muscles. Because let's say when you're singing a song, no, you don't have to keep your head steady. You don't have to keep your mouth a certain shape. What happens now is because you've broken that dependency, you don't need to move your head to a specific spot. You now actually have even more freedom to do what you want. So team, anyway, that is a wrap. Hopefully this episode makes sense and brought you value. If it did, I do the usual kind of social media stuff, like, comment, subscribe. That would really mean the world to me and it will help these videos be seen by more people as well. If you're on the podcast, leaving a 5-star review would be amazing. It really, really pushes the podcast out too. And last but not least, if you are looking to improve your voice and you're feeling stuck, don't feel like you have to do this on your own. I've got ways to work with me privately, and I've got some self-study courses also available for you that you can work through at your own pace. Links are down in the description below. My name is Ivan. I'm your voice teacher, and I look forward to seeing you every single Thursday or Friday. That's when these weekly episodes are released. Take care.